Hello everyone, this is what we will create in the next hour or so. So this is a very simple page that we've made in HTML and CSS3. It's a simple landing page, but it is responsive, so that means it's also displayed on a mobile phone. So let me start out by saying what we have. We have some sort of simple heading, header. Then we have this hero section with the image with some sort of background box. Then we have these contact us buttons, so they both have hover animation. I think that this is like very clean and simple. I've also added some sort of social proof, so some sort of banner where we have just some sort of numbers of how many designs we've made, how many clients do we have, and stuff like that. Then we have the About Me section. So in here we have just paragraphs, couple of articles, basically saying something about the person whose website it is. Then we have the portfolio section. I think that this looks very clean and it looks actually very good, as simple as it is. Okay, I think that this looks actually very nice. Then we have the call to action, which is just a simple layout with one button. Then we have the contact us section, so just inputs with a button, nothing too complicated about this page, okay? And then we have the footer section with some text and some links. Let me show you how it looks on mobile phone. Alright, so when we are on phone, it looks like this. We have a simple heading, simple logo, then we have these navigation items. We have just space around it. We don't have the button so that it collapses, but I think it looks all right. Then we have the border so that it's clear that there is the end of the navigation. We have the section, then we have the image, then we have the social proof kind of stuff. Then we have the about. Some of these images are in here. Then we have the portfolio section. So all of these items are actually placed as a one column. Then we have the call to action, the contact us, so simple form, and lastly the footer. Really simple website. So let's get into it. Alright, so I've got a folder opened up in my Visual Studio Code. I've got the index.html, so this file, which is totally empty. I have the image folder, so inside here we have all the images that we will use. And I have the CSS folder where I have the main.css, in which I have the colors that we will use throughout our project. So I will just close this thing up and let's actually edit this out. Also, I've got the index.html opened in the browser, and as you can see, there's nothing shown in here. So let me just start out by defining the HTML tag, inside of which we will have the head tag. Inside of which we will have the title, and the title could be something, my portfolio theme, so portfolio theme. And yeah, we also need to define the body, inside which we will write all of our elements, right? So if I reload the page, there it is, my portfolio theme. Cool, let me now link the CSS. So I will just go link, and the relationship will be style sheet, like this, and let me just set the href. The href will be to CSS and main.css, like this. Nice. Alright, so let me also import a couple of things that we will need. So the first one is actually Google Fonts, and we will import some sort of font from the Google Fonts. It's free to use. It's very simple to import any font that you want. So I will just go through these real quickly and find the font that I actually like, which is this one, Railway. That's probably my favorite one. So I will import this regular. I will, let's also import this light. Let's also import the bold one, and let's also import the totally bold one. So all of these, I will just go to the embedded, copy paste this link, and we have a font basically imported. So everything that we need to do now is just set this font family to our body. So in the main.css, I will just go in here and type body, and I will set it to this font family. And we've set it our font. Nice. So when I reload the page, nothing happens because we don't have any content yet. So let me also import the font awesome. And I will just type font awesome CSS link. Font awesome is a library that we can use, for example, for icons. So different types of icons across the whole website. We can use it. I will once again use some sort of CSS link so that we don't have to download anything. So I will just use a link. Relation is style sheet. And we can put a href in here to this link. And let me just close this thing up and hit enter. Alright, so we don't need this anymore. You can notice that we have 4.7.0, the version of this. So I also need to find the font awesome documentation for the version of 4.7.0. Okay, so there's one. And nice, we are pretty much good to go. So let me go back and let me start out by defining a comment and saying that this is a navigation. And we will create a new tag called header. We will give it a class of header so that we can style it in our CSS later on. Then we will create a new div with the class container so that we have a little bit of space around these elements, right? So the container will just have some sort of margin on left and the right so that we have a little bit of space and the content isn't on the edges of our display. Cool. So then we will have, let me just create a new div with the class of display flex. Alright, and yeah, let me just call this one navigation, like this. And then inside of which we will have a div with the class of logo. And inside here we will have just a link with the href of this thing. And the name being portfolio. So yeah, very creative. Anyways, then we will have a navigation. So the nav, HTML5 element actually. I recommend you use this, but only for one element on your website. It should be used for the most important navigation on your website, which is, in my opinion, always the one that's in your header. Okay, so I will just use it for this header navigation. And inside there, I will have an unordered list with all sorts of list items. And inside of this list items, we will have a link with the href being set to some section of our website. So let's just say about section, like this. And let me close this thing. And the text will be about us. So, or about me. This is a personal portfolio, so that's probably better. So let's reload this. Yeah, there it is. Nice. So let me just copy paste a couple of these. Okay, so I've copy pasted a couple of these, changed the titles, so let's just reload it. There it is. Nothing really spectacular so far, but things will get a little bit more interesting when we start out with the hero section. So hero, I will just create a new section tag, once again, HTML5 tag. I will add a class to it of hero and also section padding. So section padding, like this, and inside of this, I will have a new div with the class of container. So we will keep things in container. And we will also have a div with the class of row. Inside of which we will have a div with the class of call. Let's just use something like a call for. And also let's use something like a call for the other div. Okay, so the idea is that this row will be displayed flex, or let me just maybe just put the flex like here, and we will also put justify content center so that we will align these two items center. And the idea is that we will use something that's a CSS grid from Bootstrap, so Bootstrap grid system, which is basically, it divides the row into 12 pieces, and you can use those 12 pieces. So if you, for example, have call of 4, it will basically take the third of your screen. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Well, not your screen, but the available space. Okay, of this parent element. Okay, Cool. So in here I will just have, let me just put another div with the class of, how do I call this one? Let's just call it hero content. And inside of there I will have a H1 heading, so the most important heading on the website. There should be only one H1 heading on your whole website. Okay, so let's just say, hi, I am John or whatever. Cool. Then we have a H3 heading. This will be like, I am a web developer, I don't know, with passion for design, like this. And let's reload the page, see how it looks like. It should look horrible. Yeah, it does. Then we can have maybe some sort of buttons. Let's just use 2 buttons. So inside here I will have a div with the class of displayFlex, and we will have just 2 buttons in there. So one link, which will have the href, or we don't necessarily have to display this flex because links are inline elements. So we can just put it into a div. Yeah, we can put it into a div and give it a class of hero links, so that we can style it later on in our CSS, put a little bit of margin and stuff like that. So I will just put it in here, and we will have some sort of link that will have the class of button, and let's also use button main. Okay, and inside here it should say something like contact me, and then we will use another link. So I will just copy paste it. So copy paste it, okay, like this, and I will just put there something like learn more. So learn more, and inside here, instead of button main, I will just put button secondary, so that we have 2 kind of styles of buttons, and we will switch between these. Cool. So that's about it for this one. And for this one we will use a image. So in here will be a image with the alt, I will leave that up to you, and with the class of image fluid, like this. And obviously we need it like this. So alt will be empty, you will fill this on your own. Then we have the class, and then we have the source. This should be a image, and I should have a person, yeah, person.jpg in here. Cool. Obviously you want to have some sort of your own image. If I reload the page, there it is, there's some sort of image, but it's huge. So I think we've gotten to a point where we probably want to style this thing up. So first of all, I will just remove every margin and every padding that is set by default. So I will just say margin 0, padding 0 to every element that's on the website. Then let me just put a comment in here for the header, and we will style the header first. So overall we have also some sort of general classes, so we also want to put a comment for the general things, like maybe something like a display flex, right? The flex class, right? We basically just want to say display flex, like this. What else do we have in there? So we have display flex, justify content center. Okay, so let me just copy paste it in here. So this class justify content center will have the attribute justify content set to center. Okay, easy as that. Then what we need to define this call for. So this call for class, call for, will have actually 33% of the width. So width will be 33%. We can also define something like a call 6. This one will have the width of 50%. And we can also define something like a call 3. So this one will have the width of 25%. Okay, so once again, as I explained earlier, we divide it into 12 pieces. 3 pieces is basically 4, so 25%. So if I reload the page, it should change, but just by a little bit. Okay, cool. So let me also do the class of image fluid. So image fluid will mean that the image will have the width of 100% and the height will be auto so that it fits the element. There it is. Nice. Good. So I think that this is basically the general things taken care of. We also need to define the container. So I will just go up here and define the container. So the container class, we just want to add a little bit of margin to left and a little bit of margin to right. I think that this should be something like 5%. Let's just go with that. So margin right should be also like 5%. Let's save this thing, reload it. There should be a little bit of space. There it is. Nice. What else? Section padding. Yeah, let's also define the section padding. So section padding. And this one should be, let's just put a padding at, I think that this should be like 2 rems and 0 rem, right? So for the y-axis we want 2 rems, for the x-axis we want 0 rem. Let's see, yeah, there it is. It added some padding, definitely. So yeah, I think that let's just style the header. So in here we have display flex for the navigation. We also need to put a display flex for the unordered list. So unordered list will be also as a display flex. Nice, it's on one line. Then what we need to do is also style the unordered list. So for every unordered list, we just want the list decoration or list style, sorry. List style should be none. None, like this. Let's save this thing so that we don't have these dots in front of it. That looks just horrible. Nice. Let me just also change the style of a link. So every link will have the color of actually black one. So let me just use this black. So simply copy, paste it in here. And we also don't want this text decoration. This underlining is just look horrible. So I will just remove this and there it is. Nice. All right. I think that we are pretty much ready to go to style the this navigation. So I will just go down here and style the, well, let me start with the header. So with the header, I will just add some sort of padding at top and at the bottom. So let me just put like 1 rem at top and at the bottom and 0 rems from left and right. Let's see how that looks like. Yeah, I think that this is cool. We can maybe add a little bit more. Let's just go with 1.5. Yeah, I think that this looks nice. Then what we want to do is just style the navigation. So inside here we have the navigation, and this one should have justify content, and we want space between. Okay, so we want the space to be between those two elements so that we have them one on left side, the second one on the right side, so that the menu is on the totally right side. That's cool. Then what we will have is a navigation list item. So list item that is somewhere inside the navigation will have some sort of margin from left and from right. So let's just say that margin from top and bottom will be 0 and from left and right will be 1 rem. Let's see how that looks like if I reload the page. There it is. I think that looks nice. So let's just go with that. Then what do we want to do? We would like to style the logo a little bit, right? So let's just target the logo, and let's just say that the font size of the logo, or let me just keep the font size, but make the font weight actually a little bit bolder. So let's just go with 700. Let's see how that looks like. If I reload the page, there it is. It's bolder. You can maybe make it a little larger. So font size, let's just go with 1.2 rems. Let's see how that would look like. Yeah, I think that this looks better. Let's just go with that. Cool. So now let me actually put maybe a little bit of border at the end of this header. So let's just see that the border bottom will be 1 pixel, solid, and let's also use this black color. Let's see how that would look like. There it is. Nice. Okay, so let me just style out these things. So let me style out the hero section. So comment for the hero. And inside here, we would like to pick the image. So this, how do we call this? Image fluid. But we want to target the image fluid in the hero section. So hero, and then in here we have the image with the class of image fluid. And we would like to set the height to this so that it's much larger. Let's just say that this one will have 40 rems. Let's see how that looks like. There it is, nice. But as you can see, the image didn't keep its aspect ratio. So in order to fix that, we will just type in here object fit, and we want to cover. So let's see how it looks like now. If I reload the page, there it is, much better. So that looks actually nice. So let's just go with that. We can maybe just try and make this a little larger. So let's just try and actually use a call of 6 in here. So call of 6, and let's reload the page, see how it looks like now. Yeah, it's much larger, and I think that this looks actually better. So let's just go with that. Let's just go with that. And let me also add some sort of box shadow to this so that we have some interesting shadow. So let's just move it by 1 rem and 1 rem so that it's like 1 rem on the x-axis and 1 rem on the y-axis. So it's a little bit in the, if you like grab the right bottom corner and moved it down a little bit. And then let's also add some sort of blur. So the blur could be something like 5 pixels. And then we have the color. Let's just make it this black that we will use overall. So let's see how that would look like. There it is, nice. We have some sort of kind of effect, like shadow effect to this. We can maybe try and use the primary color just to see how this would look like. It might be interesting, but it might look horrible. So if I reload this page, there it is. Yeah, and we can maybe try to use this completely white color. All right, it looks it doesn't look. There's no effect, right? Because we are going from, we are creating actually shadow from white to white, so that really doesn't make sense. But if we go, for example, from gray, there should be something to see. Yeah, there it is. I think that the gray color actually looks the best, so let's just go with that. Nice. So let me just align this hero content so that it is at center. So actually, in order to do that, I will once again use probably Flexbox. It's, in my opinion, the simplest way to do this, actually. And I will just put to this hero content, I will put the class of display, or no, I will put it to this call of 4. Yeah, this one will have the class of display flex. So this one will be displayed as a flex. And I will also align, so align items center. So let's see, I will add the class of align items center in here. So align items center, and inside here I will have just the align items to center. Okay, and let's see whether that works. I think it should. So if I reload it, there it is, nice. So it's nice and centered. Cool, so let me also add the, move the text to right. So let me just add the class of text right. And I will once again add the general class of text right. So text right, and we will just say text align right, right here. So let's see how that looks like. There it is. But it doesn't look really good, so I will just remove the class and keep it aligned to left. We can maybe put a little bit of margin here. So we have a class of container for this. Let's see if I reload the page. There it is. Okay, so let me just style out these headings a little bit. So the H1, or let me just target the hero section and H1 heading inside of the hero section. And let's just say that the font size will be just 2 rems. And let's also use the font weight for this one. So font weight, and this one could be 900. And let's see how it looks like. It should be a lot bolder. There it is. Hi, I am John. Nice. Maybe we just want to use something even larger than this. So let's just go with 2.5. Yeah, I think that this looks better. Let's just go with that. This H3 heading actually doesn't look that bad at all. I wouldn't be afraid to go with that. We can maybe just add some sort of margin to this. So to the H3 heading, let's just add a margin on top and on the bottom of, like, let's just go with 1 rem. That might be too much, but we'll find out. Let's see. On the x-axis, we don't want any margin. Yeah, there it is. I think that let's just go with that. Let's just go with 1 rem. That looks pretty nice. And let's also define the main button. So once again, I will go to the general setting, and inside here, I will just target the class of button main, and the button main will be styled as follows. So it will have a background color of the black one, and also the color will be white one, so FFF, like this. Cool. Then we will have some sort of padding. So padding on the y-axis will be 1 rem, and on the x-axis it will be 3 rems, so something larger on the x-axis. So let's see how that actually looks. There it is. It's much larger. So that's maybe too large. That's maybe too much. Let's just go with 0.5 and 1.5. Okay, let's see how it looks like now. There it is. This may be too little. So let's just go something in between. Let's just go with 2 in here, 0.8 and 2, and see how that looks like. Okay, I think that this is the best way. So nice. Then we can also add the hover animation to this. So button main hover. So when we hover over it, let's just change these 2 things. So the color will be white, the background color will be black, or something like that. So background color will be white, the color will be black. So if I just change this, hover over it, as you can see, there's a jump. We don't want that jump. So inside here, let's just do transition, and let's just say that it will take 0.3 seconds, and it will have the function of ease in out. So let's see how that looks like now. If I hover over it, there should be some sort of animation. There it is. Nice animation. Good. So let's just go with that. Let me also style the secondary. So button secondary, and let's actually use something similar. So inside here, let me just put this whole thing in here, but let me just add some sort of border around it of, let's just go with 2 pixels, solid black, and let me just say that let me just switch these 2 up. So this one will be white and the color will be black. So let's see how that looks like now. There it is. But it's, yeah, there's a line break in here. So we don't want that. So let me probably just remove this this sort of margin, so this container. That doesn't really make sense. So if I just remove this thing, reload the page. Okay, let's see. Did I save that? I saved it. So let's open up the developer tools, check out what's wrong. If I hover over this, you can notice. So this hero container. Okay, then we have the H1 heading, H3 heading, everything looks good. But then we have this, oh, I see, it's this div. And these links, right? Yeah, so this is one link, this is the second one. So that really doesn't make sense. Wow. Let me think about this. Okay. There's a problem with these links actually being displayed as inline elements. So there's a little bit of problem with that. So let me solve this by moving this div in here, and let me just put this into its own divs. So hero links, and let me just change this to hero link. And this whole thing will go into a div that will say hero links. So div with the class of hero links, like this. And I will just Control X all the content in there. So Control X, and let's put it in there. Let's see how it looks like now. We probably need to still solve this problem. Yeah, so Okay, so I will also display this flex. So display flex, and let's see whether it fits the line. It doesn't fit the line. This is a tough one. What happens if we just add this, if we change this and maybe add a little bit of more space to it? Yeah, there it is. But it doesn't look as good as it was. Alright, so let me just try to add a call of 5 class to this. So this one will have the width of only 40%, and we will try to use the call of 5 for this whole thing. Let's see. Okay, I think that this looks actually the best for, let's just call this one high quality design, just so that it looks a little bit better like this. Yeah, I think that this looks actually fairly cool. So in here you can also notice the problem with these things being yeah, it's like really close together, and you can also see that the border is like above this, right? So we probably want to make the padding on the secondary button smaller. And let me just use the calc function, and I will just use the 2.rem minus 2 pixels. And let's see whether that actually works. So if I reload the page, yeah, there it is. So it actually works. This is basically just a function. If you are a lazy programmer, which you probably are, it will calculate these things for you. And if you wonder why is it minus 2 pixels, that's because the border is 2 pixels, right? So we need to actually subtract the border from the padding so that it looks like it have the same width and same height. Cool. I think that this looks actually fairly nice, like that these buttons are next to each other. So let's just go with that. And let me also just add the hover effect to the secondary button. So button secondary hover, and let me just say that the background color and the color will be changed. So I will just put these in here, and let me just switch this up. So background color will be black and the color will be white. And let's see how that looks like if I reload the page and hover over it. Yeah, I think that this looks actually fairly nice. So let's just go with these. Cool. So this is basically the hero section taken care of. It's as simple as that. So let me now just start out the other section, which is just the call to action. So inside here, I will write a new comment called call to action. And we will have a new section with the class of call to action. And it will also have the section padding. And we will have a div with the class of container. And inside of the container, we will actually put our content. So inside of the container, we will have another div with the class of display flex. And inside of this div, we will have 3 divs. All of them will have the class of call of free, so that every single one of them will take about the 25% of the available space, basically. And inside here, we will have some sort of testimonials. So basically, let's just say like a div with the class of, or let me just style it just as a paragraphs. So paragraph with the class of amount and let's just say plus 500. Then we will have some sort of another paragraph with the class of, or let me put this actually into a div, the class of how do I call this one? Description. Yeah, description, and this div will be closed in here, and it will have 2 paragraphs. The first one will say maybe something like a clients, and above this there will be a icon. So icon with the class of font awesome, and let's just use handshake. So this is just a icon where two people are shaking hands. So if I reload the page, there it is. So we have plus 500, handshake, clients. Nice. So we probably need to style this thing a little bit. We probably want to display this as a flex. So display this as a flex. If I reload the page, there it is, displayed as a flex. Nice. And let me just put the justify. Or no, I will just use it in the CSS. So let me style it actually in the CSS. That will be better for this particular case. So call to, or this is not really call to action. This is sort of like testimonials, but whatever. Inside here, I will just have the. Okay, so let me just change this thing. I cannot look at this. So let's just call this one social proof. Okay, social proof, and I will just change all of these. So sorry about it. We will also add the call to action. So I just was maybe too quick a little bit. So sorry. So social proof, and we will target the what was that? We cannot just target display flex because we would target everything. So let me just target this call free. So that call free. And let me in here just put the justify content, and let's use space evenly for this one. So let's see how it looks like if I reload the page. There it is. Nice. It actually looks nice. Then what we want to do is just say that this amount will be larger, right? We want this amount to be large. So I will just put in here underneath, I will just put amount, and I will make it the font size. So font size of 1.5 rems. Let's see how that would look like. At least 1.5, probably something even larger. Yeah, let's just go with 2. Or maybe even 2.5. 2.5 might be too big, but we'll see. Yeah, I think 2.5 looks all right. Then we will also style the icon. So social proof icon, and we will just put something like a font size of, let's just use 1.8 rems. Let's see how that would look like. Okay, I think that this looks actually fairly nice, but we need to play with this a little bit more. Let me think. If I just put a little bit of margin underneath this, so margin bottom of around 1 rem. Let's see how that would look like. So that these clients are a little downwards, and let me just change this up and make it 2 rems, just a little larger. Or maybe, yeah, let's just make it even larger than the icon and see how it looks like, then the number. Okay, there it is. So 2 clients. All right, if we just, let me use the developer tools and see how we style this thing. So if we would move this thing towards the center, actually, I think that this might look all right. So inside here, let me just put a justify content, align items to center. Let's see if we move all of these to center. Yeah, I think that this looks actually better. And let me just go back and change this to something a little bit smaller, because 3 rems is just too large for this thing, and this margin is also too large. So let's just go with 0.5 so that it actually looks, yeah, I think that this is nice. So let's just go with that. Let me just copy paste all of these. So I will just copy paste this content throughout all of these. So copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, and I will also change the icons. Alright, so this is actually how it looks when I copy pasted everything. I've also forgot to add the display flex to this class, so I've added it. But in my opinion, it looks fairly cool, and I think that we can just go with that. I think that there's nothing wrong with this. Alright, so let me actually continue by creating the About Me section. So About Me, inside here I will create a new section with the class of About Me. So About Me. And we will also add the section padding to this thing. So padding like this. And inside here, we will have some sort of H2 heading. We will add the class of a section heading. And let me also just add the section padding to this whole thing. So section padding. Okay, I've something misspelled. There should be only 2 D's. Okay. And let me close this thing up. There it is. Nice. And let me just put it on one line. So, whoa, what's happening? Okay, I will just remove this. Wow. Cool. And inside here, I will just type in here about us like this. And let's reload the page, see how it looks like, whether we have a heading in there. There it is. And let me also put this text center. So text center. Let's reload it. We didn't create the class yet, so it won't be at center. Yeah, but let me actually create the about us section. So inside here, I will have a div with the class of displayFlex. Inside of this, I will have another divs with the class of call of 6. And in here, I will just have some sort of heading. So H3 heading. So my story starts here. Then we will have some sort of paragraphs, a couple of paragraphs. So some piece. And in here, I have a lorem ipsum generator already prepared. So I will just use some sort of dummy text for this. I recommend you just type into Google lorem ipsum. You will find plenty of tools for this. If I reload it, there it is. There's some dummy text. We probably want more of this, so let me just copy paste this so that we have more of these text. Nice. Then let me actually put a div with the class of call 6. So the second 50% of the screen. And inside here we will have a image with the class of image fluid. And in here we will have the source. And the source will be to image. And there is like, yeah, option. So option 1. And also you probably want to define the alt. I will just leave it blank. And that's it. So if I reload the page, there should be an image somewhere in here. There it is. Nice. Yeah, so we will style that later on. We can maybe put a display flex in here. And then just align the items to center. So let me just add the class to this. So align items center. Because we will probably use it more often than we think. So I will just put it directly in here. Align items center. And it will have the attribute align items to center. Like this. So if I go back and reload the page, it should be centered. There it is, but we have it displayed flex. Yeah, my bad. So yeah, let me just add a class to this. So I will just put in here something like about content. And the about content, we will style it in our CSS. So about content, let's put here, and it will have just the flex direction of column, right? So let's see how it looks like now. If I reload the page, there it is. Nice. So now let me just add some sort of space around this. So let me just see how it looks. It actually, yeah, if we change the flex direction, align items center. Let me just check the developer tools, whether it actually added these styles. So if I just go here, check this. So flex direction, align items center. Okay. Okay, I see. So if we just have the align items, it also tells me that we have those align items center. We have 2 classes, so we've already defined it. So what do you want to do? I've made a mistake. So at the top, let's just change it to justify content center. So justify content, and inside here I will just put justify content center. Let's see if I change it in here. So justify content center, and let's just reload the page, see how it looks like now. There it is, it's centered, nice. So what we probably want to do also is just add some sort of margin to this. So if I go back to the CSS and go here, I can just add some sort of margin to this overall thing of about 1 rem. Let's see if I reload the page. There it is, nice. And let me actually check how it would look like. Oh, first of all, let me also style this heading when we are at it. So inside here, I will just put the text center class, and this one will have the text align to center. So text align, center, like this. Save this thing, reload it, it should be at center. There it is, nice. And let me actually, if I look at the page, I think that more space would be beneficial. So I will just change this section padding, and I will just put, let's just go with 3.5 rems as a padding for the section. Okay, there's much more space currently, and I think that it looks actually better. We can maybe just go with 3. That's maybe too much. Yeah, but let's just see section padding. Okay, there it is. So let's reload it, see how it looks like. Yeah, I think it looks fairly nice. So with these things, we can also maybe we just don't want to use the justify content center. All right, so after some consideration, I decided that the space evenly actually looks better for this thing. So I will just take this class and put it in here. So instead of center, it will be evenly. Let's reload it. There it is. So it looks exactly the same. And yeah, we can maybe just change the margin a little bit so that there is a little bit more margin. So I will just go down here and change the margin to 2 rems. Or actually, sorry, this should be padding. Padding, because what we will do is set the background color to this. So background color, and let's just make it this sort of black one, and let's just set the color to the white one. Let's see how that would look like. If I reload the page, it might be too much, but it might look actually nice. Let's see. All right. What happens if we just do something darker than this? Let's just use 0, 0, 0. Because this sort of image, I'm not sure whether we are using this color with these buttons. Let me just check, because it doesn't seem like the same color. Yeah, it is. Button main. So yeah, it's up to you actually what you want to use. Maybe like this 222 color actually looks better in my opinion. Yeah, I would probably go with this darker color. I can't help it. I will leave it up to you which color you want to choose. Choose on your own. I will keep it with this color. And let me also style the section heading. So inside here, I will just type in here section heading. So this about us heading. And let me just set the font size of 2 rems. And let's see how that would look like if I reload it. Because currently it's very small. So yeah, I think that this looks actually better. So instead of us, it should say probably about me. And right now, let me just copy paste these things and actually switch the order. So that's like the trick that I do pretty much all the time because I really like it. So inside here, I will just put different option, and then we will have some sort of other section. All right. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, cool. All right, so that doesn't make sense. So let me just put it away. And let me just create a second div of flex, right? We probably wanted to go with CSS grid in here. So sorry, that's my bad, but I've already went with flex. This is probably because I've already created these classes for the display flex. So yeah, that's my mistake. But anyways, I think that this looks actually fairly nice. And I wouldn't probably change it. I think that this looks nice and clean. Yeah, let's go with that. So let's just move on to the other parts of our website. All right, so right underneath we will have the portfolio. And in here we will have a new section with the class of section padding. And let's just also call this one portfolio. And inside here we will have a div with the class. For now, let's also use the container in here. Container like this. And let me just use, for this one, let me just use a grid. So div with the class of grid. And let's just use a free call. So we will have a, let's just call this one call free. Yeah, that's like a class that we are already using, right? So free columns. Yeah, let's just use it like this. And inside here we will have a free things, so free divs, with all of them having a class of how do I call this thing? Portfolio item. Portfolio item. We maybe want to use articles for this one. That's up to you, actually. I will leave it up to you. Yeah, you probably want to go with article, by the way. Yeah. So I will create a new image in here with the class of image fluid. We will also add some sort of alt to this. So alt of whatever, and the source. And the source will be just a image, and this one will be just the first one. Let's just save this thing. And inside here, underneath, we will have, let's just use a div for this one with the class of portfolio item content, like this. And also, I will just copy paste it in here because there is a typo. Nice. Now let me just add the heading of level 3. Let me just say just like something about this project. Let me also maybe add some sort of badges to this item. So I will just add a div with the class of badges. And we will have some sort of paragraph. Yeah, just simple paragraphs with the title. So for example, with the category. So let's just call this one design. And then we will have like other categories. So just something about the project, and maybe just a simple paragraph saying the date. So 20th of March of 2020. And let's just also maybe add a class to this one. So class, and let's just call this one date. Yeah, I think that this is it. Let's reload it. And let me actually first of all style one of these. And then we will actually style all of the other items, right? Because there will be multiple portfolio items. So first of all, let me just in here define the grid. So this will be display grid, not inline, but grid. Like this, and then we've had a free call, if I'm not mistaken. We cannot create a class that starts with numbers. So grid free call. Let's just call this one grid free call, and this one will have the grid template columns of one fraction, one fraction, one fraction. And let's just change this in here. So grid free call. And let's reload it. It should be, yeah, there it is, much smaller. Nice. We've also didn't add in the section heading, so sorry about it. So I will just probably copy paste it just to save some time. So I will just copy paste it in here, and let me just change it. Instead of about me, it should say portfolio, like this. And let's reload the page, and there we have it, portfolio. Nice. Actually, I think that this looks actually fairly nice, just on its own. We can maybe just change the design a little bit. Let's just change this so that it's maybe a little smaller, I think. Or maybe we can align it to, yeah, let's just align this to a left. So let's just use text right, sorry, align it to right. So I will use a class that will go in here. Yeah, text right, or we maybe already have that prepared. So if I reload it, Yeah, we already got that. So it is already prepared, text right. Yeah, I think that this looks actually fairly nice. We could maybe just put this thing inside here. So let me just take, take this whole thing, put it in here, and let me just put this thing in front of this, and instead of text right, we will just say that this will be display flex, and we want the justify content space between. So yeah, this is a really large class. So let me just copy paste it into our CSS. So inside here, I will just put it in here, and I will just put the justify content and space between. That's here. And let's reload the page, see how it looks like. So it should be on one line, but we don't have the space between. Okay, it should be justify. Let's see whether that works now. Justify content space between. Okay, there it is. And I think that this looks actually very nice. And I will just go with that. I won't change a thing about this thing because it looks just astonishing. So it's just sometimes the simpler the design is, it actually looks the better, in my opinion. So maybe this is the case where just making things simple is the way to go. So I will just copy paste a couple of these. Okay, so after copying, you can notice that some of these images are larger, and also we probably want to add some sort of margin to this. So let me just go down here and create a comment for the portfolio. And inside here, I will just put the portfolio item, if I'm not mistaken. So portfolio item, and in here, let me just add some sort of margin of, let's just go with 0.5 rems. Let's see how that would look like. If I reload the page, there should be a little bit of space. There it is. I think that this looks actually nice. And let me also just target the image. So inside of the portfolio item, we want to target the image. And we would like to say that the height of the image will be 15 rem, no matter what. And we also want the object fit to be cover, so that we keep the aspect ratio. And let's just reload the page and see how it looks like. So if I reload it, it might take a little bit of time because there is a lot of images these days. Well, not these days, but yeah, with the changes. Yeah, so I think that this looks actually fairly nice. And I think that we can actually go with this. Maybe let's just change this to something a little larger, so that we have more space around these items. So if I just change it to 1 rem and reload the page again, it will once again take a little bit time to load, but I think that the 0.5 looked actually better. So let me just go with the 0.5 and keep it this way. Alright, so if I just go back here, reload it, and actually collapse this whole portfolio thing, we can just move on and actually create the call to action. So let's just use a call to action in here, and this one will be a section. So section with the class of section padding. So section padding. Yeah, let's just add the class of call. Just to make things simple. Yeah, let me just add the container and let me add the heading for this. So I will just copy paste these two, and instead of this portfolio, I want actually this heading to be inside. So let me just remove this thing actually. And yeah, because we will need a different heading for this sort of thing. And inside of the container, we will have a div with the class of display flex. So we will display it as a flex, and then we will have a div with the class of call of, let's just use call of 4, and then we will have another call of 4, and let's just align it to center. So call of 4, and let's also use the justify content center class. Nice. Then inside here we will have some sort of h2 heading saying basically a call to action. We can style it later on in our CSS, and then we will have some sort of paragraph that will just say some sort of dummy text. So I will just, yeah, let me just copy paste a little bit of this text, something like this, and let's put it in here. Nice. Okay, so that's about it for this part, and in here we will have a link with the class of primary one, so button primary, if I'm not mistaken, button main, sorry, button main. Let's close this thing up. Okay, we need to open it up, so open up, close. We probably want to add some sort of href to it. I will leave it up to you, and let's just say learn more or something like that. The page is having some sort of difficulties, so let me just open it in new tab. It sometimes happens that you have some sort of problem with the browser, but when you open it in new tab, it usually works. So don't worry about it if it happens to you. Yeah, so there it is. We probably want to use something larger in here, or we probably want to use just some sort of smaller text. So if I reload it, once again scroll all the way down, there it is. Wow. Yeah, so let me definitely use some sort of smaller text. We definitely don't need as much of that. So something like this. Let's see how it looks like now. I've maybe deleted too much of the text, so you never know. Yeah, but I think that this looks actually fairly nice. So for this thing, we can actually also use a display flex in here, and we can also align items center so that the button is actually centered. So let's reload the page and see how it looks like. Yeah, there it is, it's centered and it looks fairly nice. The animation is currently not working because the file is loading so slowly, and the computer is probably having a lot of trouble with handling all of the images, right? But yeah, that's just the way it works. But I think that this looks actually pretty cool. But let me try and actually style it out in our CSS. So let's just call this one call, and inside here I will just target the call class, and let me just style it out as a, let me just say that the background color will be black one and the color will be the white one, so color will be white. Let's see how that looks like if I reload the page and just go all the way down there. Oh, let me just use the completely black color. I think that this looks better. The darker black of the 222. I think that it looks actually better this way. I can't help it. Yeah, so, but I think that this looks actually fairly nice. Then we can maybe style the heading. So call, and there was H2, right? So let's just say that the font size of this thing will be 2 rems. And let's try and play with the color. So let's just say that the color will be the primary one, that we didn't use the head on anything. So that's pretty embarrassing if you pick a primary color and then you don't use it on anything. But what can you do, right? So I will just paste it in here, and let's see how it would look like. If I reload the page, go all the way down there, I think that this looks horrible. So I will just leave it white. I think that it's there's something nice about the way the website is very simple. So I will just keep it white because I think it actually looks better. I can't help it. And let me just maybe add a little bit of margin at the bottom. So margin at the bottom, and let's just use 1 rem for this thing. And let's reload it, see how it looks like. I think that this should be about it for the call to action. So let's just actually, yeah, we probably want to add also some sort of margin at the left. So in here, or let me just target it out. So I will just use call, and then I will just use the call of 4. So there's like the link element, and we will just use some sort of margin from left, and it will be just 2 rems. So something like this, and let's reload the page, see how it looks like. Or maybe we can put it in the center of the element. That might also look nice. So let's just also use justify content center, and that might actually look better, so that we have the button centered actually. So let me just remove this thing, save it, reload it, see how it looks like now. If we would move the button somewhere around here, I think it should be probably in here. So yeah, that's a pretty nice game. You can actually guess where the button will be while the page is loading. It's probably because I'm recording. That's a lot of job to do for the computer, right, at one time. So let me just actually go ahead and start out the footer, because I think that this will look pretty good, so I'm feeling confident. And inside the footer, or actually not footer, sorry, contact us. So contact us, and inside here we will have a section that we will have a section padding, so the class of section padding. And let's also name this one contact, like this. And let's put a div with the class of container in here, and let's also copy paste the heading. So I will just copy paste this thing, and I will put it in front of this, and it will say just contact us. And let's reload the page. Okay, I think that the button looks nice, so that's good. But there we should have a contact us. Then what we need to do is just, let me just create a div with the class of display flex, and let me just align content, or sorry, justify content center. Justify content center. And inside of the div we will have just a form that will have the class of call of 6, so basically 50%. And inside of this form we will have a divs with the class of form group, and inside here we will have a label with something like your name. And then we will have underneath, we will have a input, so input. You probably want to fill out the details of the input. I will just keep it blank like this, just to save up some time. So yeah, we've had the heading. I think the heading looks actually fairly nice. Let's just keep it this way, and I will just copy paste in the meantime while it loads. I will just copy paste some more items. So your name, your mail, your name, your phone, and your message. And instead of input here, there will be a text area. So text area, and let me just close the tag like this. Nice. And let me also just add a link with the class of button main, so that we have a button in here that will say just the send. And let me also just align the text to center, so that it looks a little better with the text centered. So if I reload the page, there should be all of these items with the text being centered. And let me actually style it out while it loads. So I will just go to footer, and inside here I will just target the every input basically. So I will just sorry, not footer, obviously contact. And in here I will just style the contact, and I will just style every input that is inside of this. So like this, and this should go on new line. Nice. And let me just say that the width of the input will be 100%. So like this. And let's reload the page, see how it looks like. If we also do the same for the text area. So contact text area. And let me also just do the padding for this thing. So padding will be on the y-axis 0.8 rems. And on the x-axis there will be, let's say, just 1 rem. Let's just think about how we can style this thing. I think that it will look actually fairly nice, just the way it is currently. If I reload the page, what happens? Okay, this is a invalid selector. Of course, I forgot about it. So if I reload the page again, it should get better. We probably want to just add a little bit of space. So how did we call this thing? Form group. So underneath every form group, we will add some sort of margin. So margin bottom, and let me just put there 2 rems. Let's see if I save this thing and reload it. There should be a little bit of space, but overall I think that the form looks fairly nice. It's a simple form, nothing too complicated, so yeah, I will just go with that. And let me just go ahead and actually create the footer. So let's just create the footer for this page. So I will just start out by the comment saying footer, and then we will have a tag called footer. Inside of there we will have a div with the class of container, and we will create a very simple footer. So inside here I will just have the, how do I style it out? So let me just use a div with the class of display flex, and let me once again use something like a maybe something like a div with the class of col of 8. So I will need to add this col of 8 because we didn't use it yet. So I will just do it right away so that I don't forget. So right here somewhere I will just use the col of 8, and this one should have the width of 66%. 66%, like this. Nice. Oh no, like this. $66 is probably not a unit of size, but maybe it is, right? Yeah, anyways, I will just add a let's just use a div for this thing. So div with the class of logo or footer logo, and inside here we will just add a link with the class of logo, like this, and it will just say, however we call this thing, I already forgot, portfolio. Very good title. So portfolio, and we probably want to make this capital, so let's just save it, reload the page. There should be, yeah, there it is, portfolio. Let's also add some sort of paragraph to this, and in here we will just put some sort of dummy text for now, because we don't want to create some sort of text for this page. That would be really boring, this video. I hope this video is not boring for you. I hope you are learning valuable information. If you do, feel free to let me know down below in the comment section. It will just make my day. Anyways, I will just continue by creating a... What happened? I will just continue by creating a unordered list. And in here we will have some sort of items, right? So just a list items with the class of... inside here we will have a links with the href, and it will be just href to something, and we will just change the text to, for example, about us, or maybe privacy policy, stuff like that. So I will just copy paste it. Okay, so I've changed these links, all of them, and I've also added display flex to this unordered list, and I've also added justify content space between, so that it looks currently like this. Very nice. And let me also add just, wow, we've written this all into the footer logo. I didn't want that, so this div should have been close, but anyways, doesn't matter. I will just put the text centered in here so that we have the text centered. Also, let me just add the class of section padding, so that there is a little bit of space at least. Yeah, there it is. And let's also add the justify content center in here, so that we have this whole thing centered. So let's see, it should be centered currently. There it is, nice. Yeah, let me also add some space to this. So I will just go ahead and down here, I will just type in here footer, and I will just target the unordered list, and I will just say margin on top will be 2 rems, and maybe we probably want the margin from the... Okay, why there isn't any margin? What's happening? So footer unordered list, of course we don't have the footer class, so inside here there needs to be footer class. Let's say if I reload it, it should work. And let me also just style the whole footer. So let me just actually put a comment in here, footer like this, and I will style the whole footer, and I will actually change the background in here. So background color will be the black one, color will be white one. And we also probably will need to target the logo, especially because it will be black by default. Yeah. So every link in the footer actually. So footer A will have the color of white like this. And let's see how it looks like now. If I reload it, there it is. We probably want to just put a little bit of space underneath the logo. So footer dot logo. And we just want to put, or there was like footer logo, right? It was written like this. And we want to put margin at the bottom of around 2 rems. I think that this should do just fine if I reload the page. Alright, so it's probably footer logo. How is it called? Of course, typo, footer logo. If I reload it, there should be a space underneath, there it is. And I think that this looks actually fairly nice. I think that we are done, actually. We are done. And let me just go ahead and make this site responsive. Alright, so if I opened it up via the developer tools, right? I clicked on this magic button that basically allows me to view the website as if it was on a mobile phone. As you can see, it looks horrible, but we will fix it right now. So I will just go to the top of the page and I will just set the metadata and the name will be viewport and the content will be actually the width, and the width will be the initial width if I'm not mistaken, and the initial scale should be 1, but as I write this I realize that this should be device width, of course. So device width like this. So this is very important. In order to use media query you need this line. This will basically allow you to access the width of the device. So inside here at the end of the file I will just put a add media, so media query, and if the max width of the device screen is smaller than, let's just say 500 pixels, I would say that this is a mobile phone, and we will style it like it is a mobile phone. So what we will do is all of these calls, so call 4, call 3, call 6, call 5, and then call 3, and then call 8. So all of these will have the width of 100%, so they will fit the whole screen, and this should help out a lot. Okay, so if I reload the page, it should help out a lot, but it really doesn't. I wonder why is it width of 100%. Let me just check this out. If I probably know what's the problem. So cool. Let me just go in here and also change the display flex. And currently we want the direction of this, so flex direction, to be column. Okay, so that it grows in a column. And let's just see how it looks like now. So yeah, it got a lot better. So where do we have problems? Okay, the navigation looks actually fairly good. We need to handle these these buttons. We need to style them a little bit better. Then we have a problem actually in here. So what's happening? Okay, so this one have a, yes, of course, they have a margin. No, they have padding, sorry, they have padding, as you can see in here, but they have the width of 100%, so they are larger than the screen. So inside here, I will just say that the padding must be 0, and I will just make it important so that we are clear on this. And let's reload it. Yeah, there it is. And let me just say it will have a margin. So it will have a margin of, let's just go with 0.5 rems. And let's see how that looks like. If I reload it, or let me actually just change it to padding, right? Because we actually don't want this kind of black article to have white space around it. It would look very odd. So let me just change this. Okay. Alright, so let me just change this to 90%. And we will have the padding in percentage, because we would have the same problem, right? It would overflow the screen if we added padding over the width of 100%. So I will just say padding on top and bottom. We can set it to pretty much whatever we want. So for example, 1 rem. And in here, we can just say that it will have a 5% of padding from left and right. So let's see how that looks like now. Yeah, there it is. It looks much better, much better. And it's actually fixed. And currently it looks fairly good. The portfolio, we probably want to fix that, so I will just fix it right away. So that was a class called grid free call, and inside here we can just say that the grid template columns will be just one fraction, and this will just put it into one column. So there's just one column and it will put everything inside it, and it actually looks fairly good. So yeah, then we have the call to action that also looks kind of nice, so I will just leave it this way. The contact us, that looks nice, and then we have the portfolio, so the footer, and that looks also good. So I will just go all the way up, and inside here I think that this also looks very reasonably nice. And let me just style these things and also the header. So I will just go ahead and see how we are targeting this navigation. So I will just open it up and just check, hover over this. Let's see. So we are targeting probably, yeah. So we have navigation, LI. So let me just put it in our CSS. So in here, I will just put navigation and LI. And let me just add a little bit of probably padding on the top. Definitely on the top of 1 rem, and let's also use from left and right of 1 rem. Let's also probably align the text to center. So text center, sorry, text align center. And let's just reload it, see how it looks like. There it is. It looks much better. I think that this is actually fairly good to go. I don't see a problem with the menu. We can maybe align the actual header or the logo, right? How do we put this logo? We can maybe align it to center also. So text align center. And let's also say that it can maybe have a little bit of larger font size. Let's just make it 2 rems. And let's just also add some sort of padding to this. Let's just go with 1 rem. And then 0, because it doesn't matter. So if I reload it, there it is. I think that this looks actually better. Let's just go with that. And lastly, we need to fix these links. So let me just once again open it up and let's see what we are just changing in there. I think that if we just say a margin to this hero link, we will be good. So inside here, I will just put hero link. And I will just say it will have a margin on top of 2 rems. That's maybe too much. Maybe something like 1 and something. Oh no, it actually looks good. So yeah, but I think that this is pretty much it. I think that we are actually done. I think that this is the whole product. It was responsive, like we've made it in like 5 minutes. It took us about 5 minutes to make it responsive. That's the advantage of the Flexbox. You can make it responsive very easily, okay? And then you have to just handle some sort of smaller stuff like the navigation and stuff like that. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to hit the like button. It's free and it helps me out a lot. And also feel free to hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this one. And I will see you next time. Bye.